Hello, dear Starshines. Christina here with Lightbody Academy. Welcome to today's lunchtime chats. Let's pause here for a moment and give the crew a moment, some time to get on board and to get over to YouTube. For those of you listening to the recording, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. During the lunchtime chats, what we do is talk about topics and issues that are significant for us starseeds, wayshowers, and new paradigm visionaries. My name is Christina, and I'm an acceleration expert, and I provide, to the best of my ability, a liberated perspective for those challenges, for the difficulties that us starseeds and wayshowers often experience in our daily lives. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on board, guys. As you jump in, just say hi. Let me know you're here. I think there might be a delay here with the StreamYard thing. This is streaming on YouTube. So if you have people that you think will really enjoy our conversation today, feel free to share it and invite them to join us in the conversation. We have gone through quite a year. 2021 has now flown by. This is our last day of the calendar year, though energetically the new year already started on the winter solstice for those of you who are sensitive to cosmic and galactic and celestial energies. But this is the, let's say, the manufactured time cycle, the human manufactured time cycle. This is where it ends and begins. And because the entire planet collectively agrees that this is the beginning and the ending between the years, it does have a certain energy. It does have an energetic wave that comes with it. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start into some of the topics that we're here to talk about today. Thank you, everybody who responded to our inquiries. Before I get into the topics, we are experimenting on ways to engage with you guys and collect the questions and the inquiries that you guys have so we can address them in these chats. So right now, the way that we're experimenting with is if you want to submit questions and topics and issues for us to cover in the chat, we ask that you do so in our Rise group and hashtag your comment, ask me, or you on the post that we do that announces our live stream, put your question or comment or question or topic in the comments of that thread, and also hashtag it ask me, and we will find it. We're experimenting with this. It may work out, it might not, but there are a few things that I wanted to put forward, and there's a few things that you guys said you wanted me to put forward, so here we are. Hi, Nancy, good to see you. Thank you for being here, darling. And so the piece that I wanted to talk about, I wanted to talk about the celestial events in our solar ring that just so happened to be timed within the rhythm of the coming of the solstice, the new solar year, and then also the how certain behaviors and energies, consciousness of these planets impact us and the human family. So I want to talk about that. And then I also want to dive into some pieces that were brought here in the questions and the Ask Me search that we did today. Hi, Laura. Thank you for being here. Good to see you, darling. Hey, Gina. Good to see you. So here we go. The first thing was a question posted by Carol. And this is about Christmas and Easter. So she says, is Christmas and Easter part of the religious grid? They are probably to some degree, but then should they even be celebrated or not celebrated religiously? I had watched a video describing these two holidays in different disturbing lights. Yes. So this is important. Hello, darling Wynn. Welcome, welcome. This is super important because this is what I started to touch on a little bit about the new year. Everybody's collectively agreeing that the calendar comes 2021 ends tomorrow and 2022 begins the following day. That is something that has an energetic impact because there is a collective consensus that this is the truth. This is so. And then people add in more, even more sentimental weavings. And this is not a religious holiday, but it does have an energetic components to it. And people will add in their additional sentimentality of, okay, well, if it's a new cycle that's about to begin, then I want to set my intent for that new cycle. And that and what I'm talking about, you guys can understand, is the New Year's resolutions, right? And upon reflection of the closing of the old year and the coming in the new, you set your intent. But as we know, that most New Year's resolutions don't work. And some do, because some people do finally get the focus and have the tenacity to make it happen, but most do not. And that is because one of the many reasons is that this is a collective construct. It's not a rhythm that is held in place by the rotation of the sun, us rotating around the sun, or the rhythm of the moon, or the rhythm of any other celestial body within this galaxy. So therefore, this particular cycle, specifically around the new year, is it's a false construct that is only so because we agree. If we didn't agree that this was the time of the year and this was the turning of going into the next year, energetically, this time of the year would have no significance. Okay. What has significance? And when I say significance, again, I'm talking about something that's going beyond the human constructs and is a rhythm that is supported by planetary forces, lunar forces, celestial forces, right? Those are the ones that have a potent energy that we can place our intentions upon, and we can in effect ride that energy, and it will help support us in the change that we want to make, whatever that intention is, right? So when we start going into constructed religious systems, constructed belief systems, when they are based on cycles or based on forces much larger than planetary consensus, then we're talking about something with a lot of weight. Okay. So before I get into the religions and about the question about Christianity and Easter, I want to first talk about Jupiter and what's happening with Jupiter and the significance of Jupiter in the consciousness of humanity. Okay. Now, I've said many, many times in these talks that the celestial bodies that we have and that we share the solar ring with, these are living, breathing beings that have an interaction with us on a conscious and or subconscious level. So anything and everything that happens within the solar ring has a direct impact on our quality of experience. Okay. So Saturn, we know, has been having a lot of unravelings, a lot of aspects and hard aspects, and eclipses and stuff, and getting involved with that energy. And we know that the constructs of Saturn, the constructs that Saturn holds, those are getting pushed into it. The lack of integrity of these structures have our attention right now. That's the medical system, education system, the military, okay, the legal. There's these systems, but Jupiter has also been aspected, and those systems, I'm going to say, are woven even more deeply into the psyche than what the patterns of Saturn holds. Jupiter holds the doorway to our spiritual awakening, the doorway to the awakening to ourselves, okay? And this is why the energies of all the mystery school teachings, initiations, and lineages of this planet is actually held in expression by Jupiter. Many years ago, and this is a story I have shared many times over, but I'm going to share it again in this context. Many years ago, I had I had a series of awakening experiences by coming in contact with the work of Barbara Hand Clow, someone who influences a lot of what I do, a lot of what I offer here for free. And I do that because she puts things out there specifically with the intent of being like an open source code, right? She doesn't own any of it. She does the work. She's there for the expression, and she shares what she has to share and her insights about it. And then that's it. Watch the wave, watch, the impact wave happen. She doesn't try to claim and own it, and even like patent ideas and intellectual properties. That's not the way that she looks at things, which is one of the many things that impacted me and my interactions with her. And one of the stories that through studying with her that she shared several times is the story of Shoemaker Levy encountering Jupiter. And for those of you that don't remember, the Shoemaker Levy comet was discovered in 1992, but in 1994, the world witnessed it shatter, and large fragments of it have a massive impact on the planet Jupiter. And the impact was so profound that Jupiter, the face of Jupiter to this day, it has been altered. And I believe the quantification of the explosion was like 500 times. If you take all the nuclear weapons on this planet and times it times 500, that's the level of megaton blast that the power of that impact had within Jupiter. And the correlation of that celestial event is being made with the releasing of the mystery school teachings. I'm talking about the releasing of the secret teachings of how to awaken a self-realized human being became opened and available. It's like those deep teachings, the transmissions and the teachings were scattered. The force of that blast scattered the energy of those teachings like star seeds, like dust through the solar ring. And that means subconsciously, humanity, those teachings are now available. They're no longer held under lock and key. Only those who were initiated or in a specific bloodline, as in only those souls of specific lineages, bloodlines, or those that are initiated had access to these empowering teachings. As of 1994, they were all released and no longer being held by only those lineages. So that means every star seed that has the eyes to see, the ears to listen, and the heart to encourage to pursue the truth, it would be made available to us. Okay, so the state that Jupiter is in is a something really important for us to keep in mind in our own awakening journey, even now, because yes, those teachings were released, open source code for the world. Okay, and many star seeds have been taking advantage of the availability of those teachings. Many lineages that I'm a part of, but I also know others are a part of, they have all opened their doors to the uninitiated, opened their doors to train people they normally wouldn't invite and train, actually open their most deepest secrets teachings to outsiders. Okay, they've done this for the first time in thousands of years. So I know that the lineage that I belong to, it was in their vision. They were given a vision on one of the solstices. In this case, it was a winter solstice back in the early 2000s. Where they said these transmissions need to come out to the world. This is the only way that humanity is going to be able to awaken en masse as they need to. And what they're talking about is that the ascension process, the awakening process, whatever you want to call that, it's not just for the few, it's for the many. It's for as many beings that say yes to it. And so this was in the spirit of their transmission. So we were, many of us were called. We did expeditions through the mountains, received the transmissions and the new instructions of what the vision is and what they desire. And if we had a heart's desire to meet them in that and facilitate that, they invited us to share these transmissions with all who wanted them, with all who said yes in their heart to receive these upgrades. Okay. it is their vision and mine too, that these coming ages that we're going into is the awakening of the new human, is the awakening of the illuminated human being. Okay, not the enslaved human being that is saddled and bridled and commodified, right? Is now a resource for another species, right? Another kind of consciousness on this planet. No, no, no. This is the gauntlet that we need to go through. So we are forced to reclaim who we are as multidimensional beings, awakened beings, ascended beings, whatever that word is that you want to use. The gauntlet is laid for only those who really claim who they are as multidimensional beings are going to be coming out the other side of this. Okay, so this is part of another level of consensus reality that's based on a deeper rhythm, that's based on a cosmic rhythm, a galactic rhythm, a solar rhythm, etc. Okay, so this is the difference between consensus done by spell casting or manipulation or mind control, whatever, and predictions being made that are based on the rhythms of the celestial bodies. Okay, the outer nesting doll of our human experience is the galactic mind. It's who we are on a galactic level. So that means the rhythms that are held together and experienced on that galactic level, that is the parent rhythm, so to speak, of all of our other experiences inside. So when we say something is the truth, the ultimate truth, this means that it is the truth from the galactic level of who you are, through your soul song, through your light body, through your free will, through your exploration as an infinite being in a human body, through the human experience into the here and now. All of these rhythms are contributing into your here and now experience. Therefore, everything you base on those rhythms are supported. Those rhythms are a supportive force, right, for your here and now experience. In this way, the universe colludes on your behalf. It colludes on your behalf for your path of becoming. So that's your becoming. If you are wanting to take the reins and pursue all of who you are to the best version of you, to that destiny, right? It's going to be in full support of that. If you just want fate to be handed to you, right, and you just want your life to be comfortable or in the roles that you want to have or whatever, then the universe is going to collude on your behalf in that way as well. Okay, so it's really significant for us to step back out of good, bad, right, and wrong and understand that these are all just rhythms and realities that we are experiencing and that are influencing us. And we can choose to take the reins and make greatness out of, make the most, or instill greatness with those rhythms, or we can do whatever we want. Clearly, I'm biased. Right? I think, and I want to encourage everybody here, to inspire everybody here to step into your greatness, into your sovereignty, into a realized level of who you are, myself and you, right? That's where I'm at. So of course, there's many other forces that use these rhythms to advance their own agenda. Okay. Just like I mentioned, I think it was the last chat or maybe the chat before, about the powers that be taking advantage of this 20-year cycle. All right. This 20-year cycle, every 20 years, something really significant happens, which is the theme that's carried out for the following decades. So, for example, in 2021, it was the 9/11 mega ritual, where they murdered thousands of people and mesmerized millions of people around the world with a story that wasn't the truth, right? Which, of course, afterwards, it's beyond proof that there's no way that could have happened the way the official narrative is. But, the program is such where there's not really a validating platform to have that conversation unless you've already been one to do your own research and realize, oh my gosh, what a lie. Anyway, I digress. Let me get back to, so the 2001 attack on the 9/11 towers, which was really attack on humanity that propagated 20 years of war. and the war is still going on, right? So now a new 20-year cycle has become, and now we're looking at the installation of the surveillance state via the COVID narrative, right? So these cycles are not good, bad, right, or wrong. It's all about who is focusing their intent and life force energy into these cycles, right? Powers that be are very well informed. They know humanity more than most humans know themselves, right? We need to really appreciate that about these guys. So they know exactly. They have, they're planning 50 steps ahead. That's because they're part of a process. They're part of a system that has been in charge for doing that for so long. We have been, numbed out and hypnotized and cast under a spell of forgetting. So we don't even have access. Many people don't even have access to their past lives until you do, of course. So we are waking up out of this amnesia and really being in that place of having to reclaim ourselves as caretakers of this reality, because the current caretakers of this reality we're waking up really do not have our best interest at heart, right? When humans are in charge, when the real awakened human, one that is in harmony with themselves and all of nature, when they retake charge of command of this reality as a custodian of this reality, this is where beauty flourishes. The current commanders, the current self-designated caretakers are really more about commodity. They treat all life as a commodity, not for the beauty or the mystery that which it is. Okay. So to tie this into the Christian, the God grid, the Christian model, and this kind of thing, and the question about Easters and Christmases, this is because of Jupiter being in this state. Jupiter is kind of like that energy of Jupiter is in our subconscious, and it oversees the gateways of the mystery. That means the gateways of us accessing our awakened self, the encodements for our awakened version. Okay. And Jupiter is going through a very interesting energy shift right now. And this is why I posted it to the Rise group, because, scientists, they speak on the level that they understand. So the information that they're putting out, it has a particular slant and understanding to it. If you're a mystic looking at what's going on with the energy of Jupiter, you get a very different story of what you're looking at. Okay. So when I'm looking at the happenings of Jupiter, I'm seeing a very core fundamental layer to the human condition completely changing and becoming and shifting in frequency, vibration, and even consciousness. So that means part of our spiritual body has had a massive overhaul. An aspect of our spiritual form has now reached a point that it has never reached before. And for me, this is exciting news. This is one of the beautiful way to close out 2021 with a miracle like this, right? Because before, the spiritual practice was only for those who were really, curious and cared. We had a series of experiences that steered us in that direction, but the mass of humanity was lost in the rat race, right? With the stories of whatever. I mean, our culture is completely geared towards bringing out the worst, feeding and celebrating the worst of our human ego, right? But the reason why I think this is a miracle, because I think that the very foundation that the human ego has been exploited upon, I feel like this energy of Jupiter shifting is opening a huge veil to even those who do not want to see who they are on a multidimensional level. And this is actually going to not go away. So no matter how hard the ego driver tries to satiate and get satisfaction out of certain things, they're going to be hollow. It's not. Okay. People now are going to need more than ever deeper meaning to things. They are not going to be satiated with the surface narrative, the surface story. This is what I'm seeing looking at the Jupiterian, that Jupiter shift of frequency with that information. So if you guys haven't checked it out, it's the channel is Conscious Observer, And the post is in the Rise of the Multidimensional Human group on Facebook. And I believe I also pasted it on our Telegram group, which is Multidimensional Human, so you can check it out. So when we start talking about the God grid, right, we know that the religion structure, the hierarchical religion structure itself is held with the consciousness of Saturn, but the actual doorways that structure of Saturn was supposed to connect us with have been locked for a very long time. But now what I'm saying is that those are all now unlocked. So the religious structures that once primarily siphoned off life force energy from the followers, right? I'm saying now there's a whole new potential available. So that means the doorways that were once locked to the spiritual truth within us via Jupiter are now open. That means people's intent, they're going to feel something much more deeply within their intent, much more deeply. They're going to feel something that's not necessarily the Saturn religious structure. They're going to actually start opening the doorway to hearing the voice of their own spirit. And they may call that God, but that's just, what they have to label and put an understanding on. But what I'm saying is something much bigger, something much more. It's the true infinite nature of themselves that is ready to come in and integrate with the physical form. So you can see why now I'm calling it a miracle, amazing miracle to happen in 2021. Sorry, I totally got sidetracked here. So the Christian construct is a human-made construct that was intended to be supported by the rhythms of Saturn. A whole bunch of energy shifted with Saturn, and that Saturn was in conjunction with the energy of Jupiter, and now that Jupiter energy is changing as well. So now that means our religious structures and our concepts of God and all the different time construct calendars we've built on top of those rhythms are all going to get faced with shifting and changing. So we can feel more congruent truth in those practices. Okay, so to celebrate the Christian holidays, if it's something that you love those holidays, just be mindful of your specific intent of the holiday. And then, those holidays were originally piggybacked on natural rhythms, the natural rhythms of the cycle. Like, for example, Easter was really about the spring equinox. So this was a solar cycle, and Christmas was originally about the winter solstice, which is another transition of a solar cycle. So these religions are very closely associated to very powerful natural rhythms. So we can just simply adjust our awareness about the timing of these religions that we are, these religious holidays that we're celebrating, and we will instantly take it back to a much more powerful cycle that has more energy and more momentum than the human construct. So the Christian overlay was a man-made construct. It's losing steam. Its foundation is shifting, which means its rhythm, the core rhythm that it's based on, is shifting. So we can easily and gracefully make the shift by changing our intent with those holidays. It's that easy. Okay. Now, I know there's a lot of concern around the deep resonance of the God matrix that many people have because so many humans are entrenched in it. Whether they're religious or not, or spiritual or not, whatever, it was a part of a way of life. It was a major fabric to our society, to where we connect and have supportive community and stuff like this. So the actual structure provided a lot of things for humanity. And some believe that to step out of that matrix completely, that means you need to detach yourself from all the sympathetic resonance, which is the terms, the religion, the practices, the timings of things and all this stuff, even to the point of never referencing or saying the word God or goddess or even, stuff like this. And this did have a level of truth that as you tapped into those old matrices, you were kind of like tapping into like a habit, an old rut that a habit would have, right? But what I'm saying with this new dawn that just happened and the energies where they're at right now, that I'm saying that this does not have the weight that it used to have. We can hijack each of those religions by simply placing our intent to the natural rhythm that it was originally extrapolated from. Okay, so it's that easy. There's no big Goliath that we need to battle. We are the ones who are in charge of our reality, because we are infinite beings in a biosuit, darlings. We are an infinite being. We have no beginning and we have no end. This biosuit that we're wearing right now is really a blink of an eye in the larger scope of our soul's journey. Okay, so we are very, very powerful, and we wield our power. How we wield it has a huge impact on the quality of our reality. Okay, so what is it that we're wielding? Our attention, our focus. By us reclaiming authority over what we pay attention to and what we focus on, this is how we hijack our reality, is by claiming those two facets. Okay, this is huge. It's that simple, but it's also, a lot of people don't think it's that simple, don't feel like it's that simple, because how do you get away from computers? How do you get away from the distractions of this reality that maybe drain our life force energy in one direction or another? So this is what we're inventing. We're inventing the way to navigate this world built on distraction. Okay, we're learning a way to navigate through this reality where it does not cost us our soul to be here. Because that's really what this reality is getting set up. It's like you give up a part of yourself day after day after day until you're just this hollow shell. So much of you doesn't even exist in this body anymore because you've declined it. You said no, you've sold it out. You've done this, you've done that. I mean, we've all have undone to a certain level the training that tells us to do that. That's partially why you guys are here and why you recognize the work that we're doing. Because we're about reclaiming all that and then figuring out how to live a life where you no longer compromise your soul again, right? How to live your life that is in alignment with the truth of who you are, and is a true, and having an ego driver that allows you to express and be the truth of who you are in this world. So a lot of people are waking up out of this God matrix. As more people do it, it's going to be easier and easier and easier. You can see right now the powers that be, how they've manipulated the narrative to such a degree where really strong fundamentalist religious teachings were going out the window, but now they're being reclaimed or being re-energized with the COVID narrative and the vaccine narrative, because a lot of the narrative associates the narratives that are considered misinformation with a radical left group, which is extreme religious groups like Christianity, people who don't believe in vaccinating their kids, or who homeschool their kids, or, you know what I mean? People who decide to reclaim their society, their social group, to be in the intention of how they believe it should be. The ones that had the organizational ability to do that were religions, right? If you look at the Amish, it's a great example. They're unplugged from a lot of this stuff because they take care of their own dead. They take care of their own society. They're involved. They are responsible for their own structures, not a government, not an outside system. So for them, the COVID narrative doesn't really have much weight because they've already gone through it. Everybody got it, and those who lived, and those who didn't, right? And life moves on. That's the rhythm that's available to them because they hold the structure for that. They hold the possibility for that. We could be doing the same thing, except our narrative in the mainstream and in the alternative circles are being manipulated. If I were to say that I'm an anti-vaxxer, or I'm not interested, or I'm against the mandate, the opposite side of the argument will be trying to qualify me as a religious right person, a Trumper, or some other sort of dismissible character that I've been, the stereotype that I could fit into. So you can see how this manipulation is going on both sides. It's like a lot of the power over dynamics involved in the Christian narrative have gotten a lot of traction because people are allowing it, only because that's the only group of people that they can feel safe around, not wanting to be in the mandate game, right? So this whole thing is a setup. The right, wrong, good or bad, left, right, that's all an illusion. It's all an illusion. And they know you better than you know yourself. They preempt the moment before you have to make the choice. They preemptively plant seeds in your mind so you are clouded when the moment of truth where you have to make your choice arrives, right? I know it feels unfair, but when you are unwilling to compromise the truth of who you are, unwilling to compromise what's happening right here, then the shenanigans becomes much more transparent. So with all that said, I believe that the coming year, 2022, is going to bring some mega chaos. And I think there's going to be some very significant violence that's going to happen between these factions because everything's going to come to a head. But also, I think that 2022 is going to bring us, humanity, some of the most amazing, miraculous events. So there's going to be some huge miracles happening in conjunction with some tragedies. So these rhythms that I'm talking about is partially why these tragedies need to be tragedies, why these violent clashes need to be violent, is because people want to hold on to structures that are no longer being supported by the rhythms. So the truth that they were once deeply invested in, they're going to wake up to as being a lie. Okay, for real. Mega truths that we have thought were so for a long time are going to be revealed as lies. For many of us, we're already waking up to it or already have awoke to it. But for the masses, it's their turn to wake up to it. So this is where we need to make sure we are clear on what our vision is and what our roles are. It's gonna, you think you're confused now. Things I feel like can get a lot more confusing because it's going to be, are we going to fight? Or are we going to flee? Are we going to, make a stance? What's the deal? You have to decide. And the deciding factor here is going to be really riding the rhythms, riding all those different rhythms that we have to work with. We have lunar rhythms, planetary rhythms, solar rhythms, many celestial rhythms that we can piggyback our envisioning and our intent with. And then that momentum will show us where the cherry spot is for us to be. Okay. It's going to, yes, the moon too. Yes, you can include the moon. Yes. So dear Sister Gina, so some people really were kind of like, didn't know what to make of the moon conversation that we had a few weeks ago when I said that the moon was actually hollow and it's a artificial body brought in. So that's true. It's been here for many thousands of years, and it's a part of the rhythms that influence humanity. This is what I mean, where we need to step out of the ideas of good and bad and right and wrong, because that really locks our ability to understand things in a larger scope. If you can just recognize that the moon is the moon, it is something in position that has been here for a very long time, and it has a rhythm, and that rhythm has an impact, then you have enough information to be able to utilize that rhythm to your own advantage. Okay. It doesn't, you don't need to look at it every time and think about how you were deceived and you thought it was one thing and then it was another, and then have all these, maybe negative feelings or heavy feelings around it. No, instead, let this information carry you beyond the ideas of right or wrong, and hold it softly so you can gently open up to a much bigger picture of what's available to you. because these rhythms are available for all of us, not just the ones, not just the powers that be. These rhythms are meant for us all. We are the ones who were originally intended to be caretakers of this reality, of this 3D reality. We are not doing that. Therefore, other beings came in and they are claiming custodialship over our reality. And we either reclaim it or we don't. It's my position that we are going through a gauntlet of experiences as a collective, so we can be fully awakened en masse on the other side of this journey, which maybe is going to be about, well, there's different phases of shifts. I'm going to say we're going to see the first phase of the shifting being reflected to us on a collective level within the next 5 to 10 years. So we're here, we have to decide. We are the ones who decide on why we are here. But once we get a feeling of our centeredness in the here and now and our expression of what this is, then we can really feel good carving our role, our purpose out for ourselves in the chaos. We do, just because the world is in chaos doesn't mean that we have to be chaotic. We can choose the centeredness by carving out what it is that we envision for ourselves. And when you are talking about what you're envisioning for yourself, I'm not talking about, a nice house, a nice car, and clothes and status. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the expression of the truth of who you are in context of the rest of this planet. That's what I'm talking about, right? Because who you are here not just for your own soul's purpose journey. It's not a me thing. It is a we thing. We are here to invent the we path through this gauntlet. That's on a bigger umbrella picture, a bigger landscape picture, why we are here. The way you do it is completely up to you. And you have full artistic license. Dear Sister Gina says, I felt better after we messaged. All week I've been looking at the moon with mostly curiosity, which is kind of fun. I like not knowing and having new things to learn. My old idea of the moon morning period is over. Oh, how cool is that? Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Gina. That's very cool. Yes. So that's a really great piece there. Okay, I was going on a tangent here. So. The other thing that some of the miracles, that's what it is. Some of the miracles that I see happening in 2022 is that more and more humans are going to reclaim their birthright as those galactic beings, as these infinite beings in a biosuit. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Galactic citizens. We are going to reclaim our galactic citizenship, as in we will be able to be able in our own right, not because we're initiated in one way or the other or part of a particular lineage. We will be able, each of us be able to be available to cultivate deep personal relationships with exo-species. Okay. Exo-species is a huge umbrella of a term. It's not just talking about ETs. It's talking about relations with many, many beings that are of intelligence, that are maybe not in form as in they have a body, and definitely not human. Okay, so I'm talking about beings from Earth, from inner Earth, from the stars, from interdimensional realms. I'm talking about beings that we are quite literally surrounded by, but yet we've been asleep to for many, many lifetimes. Okay. In 2022, I see humanity jumping forward in their relationship of exospecies, and really some amazing ambassadors coming forward to help humanity reunite with their brothers and sisters of creation. So I made a list of the different kinds of things that can qualify as exospecies. So I'm going to go ahead and move my camera over. Okay, so just so you guys know, I'm super ADD, and part of the expression of that is that I print and cursive I write in print and in cursive. So apologize about that. Okay, so exo-species, that could be any non-corporeal intelligent being consciousness. So non-corporeal means without a body, without a physical form. Okay, so that could be all sorts of things that are intelligence beings, but don't necessarily have a form that we can relate to. Some of them, many beings take form for us so we can have an interaction, but they normally would not have a body. Then we have elementals, elemental beings. These are the ones that are going to have huge breakthroughs this year, and that's because humanity has, and on a collective level, integrated more and more and more of what it is to be in relationships with these beings. Okay, so elementals are, that's also a huge broad stroke to describe many different kinds of beings, from fairies, from divas, to elves, to trolls, to gnomes, to Sasquatch, all sorts of beings fall, the abominable snowman, yeti, all sorts of beings fall into that category. Okay, so, and many humans are integrating really deeply their relationship with these kinds of beings. The next step for those of us who've been spending a lot of time since 2012 integrating ourselves into these different relationships, the next step is now for us to get together with groups of humans that have these relationships. So we can have, say, like an ambassador council of humans that can meet with an ambassador council of these exo-species, and we can start working out pieces, processes, so we can integrate it on a group level. Because like I said, this awakening process is a collective process. It's a we journey. It is not a me journey. Even though you healing the me issues is you doing your part of the we. Okay. So personally, there is a me component to it, but as you unravel more and more and more and reintegrate, you're doing this for the we, and you're doing this eventually in the we, right? This is how we help collectives. Then we have interdimensional beings. Those can be like this, the different kinds of keepers of the dimensional lenses that I've talked about a lot. The Sirians, the Pleiadians, the Andromedans, the Arcturians, the Zolkin, the Galactic Federation, the Intergalactic Federation, these guys, these are all interdimensional species that can fall into that category. So they have a physical form off somewhere, but they contact us psychically and through the stellar networks. And then we have straight up ETs. These are corporeal beings that come and visit us in spaceships. These spaceships could be actual physical ships. They could be plasma balls. They could be light vessels. There's all sorts of ships that ETs can, there's all kinds of technologies that extraterrestrial beings have used to come to our consciousness here in this realm. Many of them don't need to use ships, but some do use ships because they need to have some sort of segue for our consciousness to actually recognize that they're meeting them. They're meeting an extraterrestrial consciousness or a star being, right? They need that. Just like that movie in the Matrix. They can't just unplug somebody. They need to do something to initiate the shift in their awareness. So in that case, they take the red pill, right? So they really, a lot of beings that don't need that kind of technology use it because the human psyche needs it to have that progress, that progression into a different reality, a completely different paradigm of reality. And then exo-species, then you have spirits. This could be disincarnated humans, disincarnated beings of all sorts, spirits. You have nature spirits. Also, this is again another huge spectrum. Then we have plasma beings. Plasma beings are normally associated with inner Earth, but they can be anywhere. That's when they come from their kind of consciousness, stream of consciousness into our stream of consciousness, but they'll very often show up in a plasma ball. Now, that plasma ball, those of you who've experienced plasma balls, again, the connection is psychic. It's a also visceral, because some people have a lot of empathic of messages and information they get from plasma beings. So they are communicating to us on a broad channel that we can pick up with our senses. And because and depending on where we are in our consciousness, that depends on the kind of form sometimes that they can take. Some beings, as you become more fluid in your consciousness and more expanded in who you are, beings that maybe used to present as plasma beings may start appearing to you in different forms, right? They may come like say in a humanoid form or a insectoid form or whatever, right? So that's because your consciousness has shifted. Your consciousness has opened and expanded, and you can accept and perceive more than you could before. Your lens, your blind spot is unwound. So therefore they appear differently. And then we have light beings. Some beings show up as light. Some truly are light beings. Some beings are just masquerading as light beings. Again, your empathic sense is what you have to tell with what the true intent of the different beings are that come in contact with you. Anyway, so this is just a short list of exo-species that are that relationships are available for humanity right now. In 2022 is the big year for us growing in that. The collective awakening is upon us, and we are all here because we have a role to play within that collective awakening. As I said, that role is completely up to you, but do know that by you integrating all these alternate realities, consciousness, and levels of who you are in doing the me game, right? Showing up for yourself and your own healing, that is assisting the we component to it all. And as I said, this next component that's coming is now integrating in groups. So that means getting together with other beings of expanded consciousness that are a frequency match for your own. Not that you'll agree, but it's a frequency match. There's a very deep connection between you. That's a frequency match. You guys get together in groups and integrate these pieces on a collective level like that. That's going to present as massive, let's say, tsunami waves through the different false grids that are on this planet, because these false grids are not in tune they are not in harmony and resonance with the new rhythms that are anchoring in right now in our consciousness, in the planet, in our solar ring. So this is how we do it, guys. It's boom, here we are. It's exciting. All right, dear sister Gina says, I think when I can fully communicate with them, I will find my mate. I have not yet found a human that I feel 100% gets me. Yes. That's, this is important too, because as we find each other, find our tribes, find our partners, whatever it is that, that's really that we're doing our personal work towards, right? All these pieces are a part of that collective contribution. The more we get together in groups and do these things, the louder our consensus is in the landscape of the collective. And here's the cool thing. So a collective consensus that is based in a lie, like a whole bunch of people agree on something that is a lie. They don't know it's a lie, but they all agree that it's reality. And then you have a group of people who has their pulse on the deep rhythms of reality, and they are of a consensus. And that consensus is based on the rhythms deep within themselves, deep within their subconscious. That means it's a harmonious with the planetary rhythm, with the celestial rhythms, with the solar rhythm, with the galactic rhythm, and so forth. That consensus will easily bulldoze the consensus that is founded and based on a grid and a lie. That's a lie. Okay. So that's what we need to keep in mind, that help that keep you motivated to keep reaching out and finding your tribe, finding your people, because the more we get together and resonate on these levels and do the work that we're doing, the louder our voice is, and the more change we affect on the bigger collective level. I hope that makes sense the way I said that, because that's the big message here for us. We are all here for a reason. We are all here because we want to wake up We want to be our multidimensional sovereign self. We want to be free. We want to take responsibility for our reality, right? We want these things. And it's not a solo game. It is a collective game. So find your peeps, find them. It's worth it. When you are in resonance and you have visions and other people share your visions, now you have a group of people, you have a team of people willing to work towards the same thing, right? You have a team of people that want to work towards the same thing. And that is a huge, huge gift. Huge. Okay. All righty, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. There's no other questions really getting put into the chats. Well, actually, I think there was one more thing here. What was this? So this is Gina Ann, but I do want to mention this because this is a real thing. So, because when she first saw the post that was posted, she missaw it. She thought the GOT was Game of Thrones. And anyway, I want to mention this because this is something that happens to me a lot. And this is why I have to take a breath before I come to any place inside myself with stuff, is that reality is so malleable right now. Our reality is so malleable right now. When we have momentum built up in our subconscious and we have momentum built up in our consciousness, it will spill over into our projections. So we are having moments where we can really notice that our own projections are skewing the information, skewing the experience that we're looking at. This has happened to me several times and it's really flipped me out because I'll see it one way the first time. Then I'll be like, wait a minute, did I really see it like that? And I'll go back and I'll look at it again and it'll be completely different than how I originally saw it. Right. So this is what I'm speaking to. And there's times where I've gone back and looked a few times and it was different every time. So then that's where I'm like, whoa, really what's happening here? Part of why this is happening is that there is technological components contributing to our here and now experience. Okay. This is why we cannot, it's not an all or nothing game. Our resolution that we're trying to seek in relationship to technology and AI. Okay. So just let this be a theme, a seed for the theme to come. Blanket AI aversion cannot exist in our reality right now because it has it's here right now. There's no major, electromagnetic pulse that's going to shut down all the electronics and humanity is going to move forward with their consciousness. No, we need to figure out how to move forward with all the different roles that we are as a galactic awakened citizen and have technology be part of our lives. If you guys have not seen Matrix 4, I encourage you to check it out because that was the major collective epiphany that changed life for all humans and synthetic sentient beings on the planet in that particular storyline. So I'll leave you with that thought. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Happy New Year. I hope you guys have a great time doing whatever you're going to do. I really encourage you guys to explore the rhythms that are available to you and use them to your abilities the best that you can. Also, I want to let everybody know that the quantum reality shift is open for enrollment. So this is our contribution to opening the collective we to the bigger part of who they are. Right now, we're working on ancestral healing and clearing and learning how to rock out the forgiveness practice as a multidimensional healing and reintegration process. So that's what we're doing currently. And then we're going to be coming up into a new process, and that will be working on sand paintings, working with elemental beings to help unravel things for you. So thank you, everybody. Happy New Year. We will see you guys next time. Mwah, mwah. Take care.